Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. It is 2:06 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. We expect Vice Chair Fournier here momentarily, Commissioner Carolina Mejia to my right, Commissioner Rachel Grant to my left, and Commissioner Emily Klaus also to my left. Clerk of the Board, Amy Davis, County Manager Leonard Hernandez, Assistant County Manager Josh Cummings, Assistant County Manager Jennifer Walker. Thank you for being here. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will kick it off, so if you'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's not. Go ahead. We're going to proceed with the land acknowledgement.
We would also like to start today with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia. Next up is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the proposed agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second to approve proposed agenda. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries and that agenda is approved. Now we have a few items, three particular items under presentations. First is a recognition of former Undersheriff Dave Pearsall. He is here today with the sheriff and other members of the sheriff's team. I want to pass it to the county manager.
Thank you, commissioners, members of the public. We'd like to recognize, former Undersheriff Dave Pearsall for his recent retirement. And I understand that's his second retirement. After nearly 40 years in law enforcement, almost all in Thurston County. Since his time as a sheriff's officer explorer at the age of 17, Dave has exemplified what it means to be a dedicated public servant. His numerous assignments and ranks throughout his career include deputy sheriff, forestry deputy, off-road vehicle enforcement deputy, marine services deputy, emphasis PROACT team deputy, narcotics detective, patrol corporal, sergeant and lieutenant, detective lieutenant, patrol captain, support services chief, operations chief, and undersheriff. He's a graduate of the FBI National Academy Session 255. These assignments were in addition to his involvement in several community-oriented organizations. He graciously stepped out of his former retirement to serve then newly elected Sheriff Sanders. Not only did he accomplish that, but he served the residents of Thurston County just as he did before. His unwavering commitment and dedication to our community deserves a round of applause.
Sheriff Sanders is here. Would you like to make any additional comment?
Oh man, well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I was trying to think of an embarrassing story to tell, but I think I'll save Undersheriff Pearsall a little more embarrassment. We got to that in his retirement party.
Yes.
When I got elected, I had every position picked out except for the undersheriff. I knew who all my chiefs were going to be. I knew who my executive aide was going to be. And as I'm kind of looking around, the one thing I did know is I needed someone who wasn't like me. I needed someone who was a little bit opposite of me. And one thing you'll notice is that you don't see Undersheriff Pearsall out at a whole lot of community events. And you don't see me behind the desk a whole lot, which is why we made such a good team. He was always willing to handle the administrative stuff so I could be out in the community talking with people, and we made a really good team. I know I miss you a little bit. I'm not going to get emotional. But, you really expedited my career as sheriff because I got to avoid a lot of the easy mistakes, a lot of the simple mistakes that I otherwise would not have known. And so when I was looking around trying to pick an undersheriff, I said, you know what, I'll just pick the guy who's done everything. He's held every rank in the office. He's done just about every specialty assignment. And if he hasn't been a part of that specialty assignment, he's supervised that specialty assignment. And so he just brought so much expertise and knowledge with him. And when I look at the successes of Thurston County Sheriff's Office over the last 2.5 years, we're still building on those. So I appreciate you. I know I've said it before, but thank you again. The citizens owe you one for sure. So.
Dave, would you like to say a few words? We'll snap a quick photo in front of the dais, so don't go away when you're.
Like the sheriff, I don't want to get emotional, so I'm not going to go very far. But commissioners, county managers, I just want to thank you for the recognition. It's been a true honor and privilege to serve the citizens of Thurston County for as many years as I had. I love that job. It's been great. So that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Chair, we understand that Dave has members of his family here with us. So we'd just like to give a special recognition to them and a round of applause for their love and support. Yeah, we have to be up there.
Oh, I do?
Yeah. Yeah, be there. Nice for you.
Carrie, I'll get a picture.
Can y'all skid in just a smidge more? Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know.
I got you. Good job.
Okay, next under presentations, we have Matthew Ronsley and Taylor Rome from the Commissioner's Office team to present Thurston County's 2025 Art Contest Awards.
Good afternoon. I'm Matthew Roundsley with Thurston County. I work for Wayne Fournier.
My name is Taylor Rome. I work for Commissioner Mejia's office.
Thurston County hosted its second annual countywide art contest over the last 3 weeks. This contest was open to youth, adults in our community, as well as county staff. This year we opened up our gallery show for submissions to be presented and viewed by the staff and the public. And that gallery was in this room on Thursday and Friday. You can see photos of that on our Facebook page. We also posted the art on Facebook for the public to weigh in and vote on what their favorites were.
We had 3 goals this year: to double the entries from 2024, to double our entries from staff, and to increase participation in South County. In this effort, we set up 4 different drop locations around the county to alleviate driving pressures and increase the opportunity for all of those in the community to participate. And it was through these efforts and through these drop locations and increased outreach that we were able to hit every single one of our goals this year.
We are excited to say that we received 100 submissions from nearly every zip code in the county. The public art gallery was attended by over 150 staff and members of the public who participated in voting for their favorites. And then as the commissioners, or as you know, the commissioners also voted and selected their favorites. Those are called the Commissioner Honorable Mentions this year. And then through Facebook, we received over 2,500 individual votes, and those were how we selected the People's Choice Award.
Before we recognize the winners, we want to thank all of the individuals, the cities, the businesses in Thurston County that helped us spread the word to the community. Every year we go around during Arts Walk and we go and put up the flyers, and the businesses are so supportive of what we do. A special thank you to the City of Yelm, the City of Rainier, and the administrative teams in both Public Works, Public Health, and also Central Services here in our building who served as drop locations. Without them, this wouldn't have been possible. And finally, a huge thank you to everyone who participated in the art contest. If you were here during the gallery last week, I said without you, we don't even have an art contest. Those who participated last year and who got to witness the gallery said this year, time and time again, that this was top-notch, next level.
So what do we do with all of the winning art? All of the winning art will be displayed in 2 different places this year. The first will be at the Thurston County Fair, July 31st to August 3rd. And then after that, it will be displayed here in the atrium for a year through the completion of the 2026 art contest. So as you probably know, there are several pieces from the 2024 art contest that are currently being displayed in this building.
Now we're going to recognize those who the commissioners, the county staff, and the public selected as their winners.
All right. When we call your name, if you will come up, and then we have certificates for you. Sorry. Perfect. All right. In gallery voting, we have in the staff category with her piece, Reframe Abundance, Olivia Studebaker. In the youth category with her piece, Basket Weave Cutting Board, Jamie Mayer. And then in the adult category with his piece, Twilight at Liberty Theater, Mark Schultz. Mark is on a fishing trip, so he can't be here right now.
In the commissioners' honorable mentions, we have with their piece, Summer Reflection, Cindy Swan. With their piece, An Artist's Heaven, Stacy Biddle, being accepted by her mom, Diana Van Meter. With their piece, Plain Air Longs Pond, Pam Stoutenberg. With their piece, Together at the Fair, Sophia Robinson. And last in the Commissioner Honorable Mentions, we have Nectar of Life by C. Kinney.
And then in the People's Choice winner, which was selected through the Facebook voting, in the adult category with her piece Peacock Bowl, we have Lori Eslick. In the youth category, we have with her piece Sunless Sunflower, Koya Mager. Sorry. And then in the staff category, we actually had a tie. We have Edge of Day by Laura Tuskarski, sorry. And she is unfortunately in a meeting. County employees always working hard. And then we have Tessellations by Tiff West. And then the overall winner was Lori Eslick with her amazing pottery bowl, Peacock Bowl. The board is going to move to the next proclamation, but after that, we'll take a brief recess to take pictures with all of the winners.
Don't go anywhere, art folks.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Let's give Matt and Taylor a round of applause. For letting this thing happen. All right, next up is a consent proclamation recognizing the first women voters in Thurston County. We have Shirley Sterling here in historically accurate attire, who will provide us an overview of this incredible event. Also here today is Jennifer Colvin, a descendant of one of the voters, and Shelley Willis, representing Zonta Organization International. Thank you, Shirley, and all those in attendance for this important recognition. The floor is yours. Yes.
Diane Smith was the state regent of Daughters of American Colonists at the time that we did the rock and the dedication in Little Rock at the Little Rock Elementary School. So she will be narrating the slideshow.
Thank you, Shirley. In the 19th century, Thurston County women stood at the forefront of women's suffrage in Washington Territory. Next, after the Civil War, the 14th Amendment gave hope, guaranteeing all persons born or naturalized equal protection under the law. But in 1869, Mary Olney Brown was turned away from the polls in rural King County. She didn't give up. She wrote passionately in newspapers under the name Equal Rights. Closer to the mic. By 1870, she moved to Olympia near her sister Charlotte. That June, with women including Delilah Sargent and Mercy Peck, yes, they held a picnic near Grand Mound on Election Day. After dinner, Charlotte gave a powerful speech interpreting the law to the well-fed gentlemen. The women's 7 votes were accepted in that territory-wide election. Nearby in Black River, however, now Little Rock, women sent a man on a fleet horse to confirm the news. He returned waving his hat and shouting, "They're voting, they're voting." 15 ballots in all were counted. However, Mary was again turned away. That was her second time when she tried to vote in Olympia. Lawmakers soon closed the any person loophole, but the small success was a stepping stone. The next year, Susan B. Anthony visited Olympia and addressed the legislature. She was hosted by Judge Bigelow and his wife, Anne, both suffragists. You can still visit their home today, the Bigelow House Museum. Next, Washington women voted in the 1880s when no racial restrictions existed. Unfortunately, those rights were struck down twice by the Territorial Supreme Court. In 1910, Washington finally granted women permanent voting rights, though most Native American women had to wait another 14 years. In recent years, we've remembered these milestones. In 2004, the Grand Mound voting site was marked by Thurston County and curves near Great Wolf Lodge. In 2009, the Daughters of the American Colonists, DAC, installed Washington Women Win the Vote at the old Capitol building. In 2011, DAC placed a marker at the Bigelow House to honor Miss Anthony's visit. She noted in her diary, quote, "Dined at Judge Bigelow's, his wife splendid." In 2020, DAC marked the Black River voting site at Little Rock Elementary School. I'm then State Regent Diane Smith from rural Little Rock. With then historian Shirley Sterling, our members, school principal Glenn Spinney and Chuck Hornbuckle, and I must give credit to Commissioner Menser, who attended a meeting of the PTA down in Little Rock while we were trying to figure out how to do our contest for the children. Maybe you don't remember, but I remember you. We dedicated the marker, including a skit with a man on horseback and essay readings by students with prizes. Local and state officials, as well as DAC national leaders, joined us. Despite COVID, the whole town turned out while taking precautions. It was a day of remembrance, education, and community spirit. Today, descendants of these remarkable women still live among us, like Jennifer Colvin, whose great-great-great-grandmother was Mercy Peck, who, as you remember, voted that historic June 6th day. Jennifer, would you please stand so we can greet you? Thank you all for helping preserve and celebrate this important history. Special thanks to the county commissioners for including us today. I would like to again introduce Shirley, our current state regent, and national president, Carol Holt. And our members who came today who voted in 1870 on June 6th. Would you please stand? Thank you. Thank you.
So much. This is an interesting story. I didn't know about it until you brought it to our attention, and we were glad to be able to bring this into the meeting today. Thank you all, everyone who is in attendance for this. So that is our presentations. We are going to take a 5-minute recess to grab a photo with our.
Would you like Auditor Hall to talk on this item?
I do have a proclamation. Do we have Auditor Hall?
Putting you on the spot, Auditor Hall.
Thank you. I didn't know I was on deck, but you know, I always come prepared anyway.
Of course.
So thank you for recognizing the first woman to vote. It's certainly a woman, certainly a important moment worth honoring. But I also think it's very important to point out the entire picture, that for women of color and Native Americans, it was much later in the process that they were allowed to vote. So even though in 1867, as I mentioned, the word male was stricken, it didn't clearly say that women could vote. So there still had some things to overcome. But, you know, good laws matter. And I think even back then in 1870, that was true. And every word matters in law. So thank you very much for honoring this important event. And our history really reminds us of how fragile this process is and how important it is to keep pushing forward and make sure that we vote in every single election. And to the League of Women Voters that are here, I love your little flyer that talks about the important races this year and what they do. So thank you very much for putting that together.
Thank you, everyone. All right, since we have such a good crowd here, we're going to go ahead and have the vice chair read the proclamation, so you can kind of hear what it says, and then we'll take our picture and get on with the meeting.
This is a proclamation of Thurston County, first vote by women in Thurston County. Whereas women's suffrage in the United States was shaped by brave and persistent efforts at the local, state. Is there a female up here who'd like to read this? And I don't want to assume.
And national levels, and women in Thurston County stood at the forefront of this fight, and
whereas on June 6, 1870, at a planned gathering near Grand Mound, a group of women courageously cast their ballots, joined by others from nearby Black River, marking one of the earliest documented instances of women voting in Washington Territory, and
Whereas the local newspaper verified that 15 women's votes from Grand Mound and Black River precincts were officially counted, providing a pivotal stepping stone in the path to full suffrage. And
whereas in 1871, national suffrage leaders Susan B. Anthony and Abigail Scott Dunaway visited Olympia with Mrs. Brown and the Bigelow family, hosting and organizing efforts that led to the first territorial suffrage convention, laying a framework for continued activism in Washington. And
whereas the efforts of these pioneers bore fruit in the granting of voting rights to white Washington women in 1910, 10 years before the ratification of the 19th Amendment, through barriers continued for many women, including Native American and Black women, marginalized by discriminatory laws and policies. And
whereas the legacy of these suffragists has been honored with interpretive markers at Grand Mound and Little Rock, including community celebrations and educational reenactments that commemorate the spirit of 1870.
Now therefore, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners recognizes and celebrates the courageous women of Thurston County who helped blaze the trail toward equality at the ballot box in Thurston County and across the nation. Adopted the 17th day of June 2025, the Board of County Commissioners.
All right, quick recess to grab photos, and then we'll take up the meeting in about 5 minutes or so. Okay, it's 2:41 PM. We're picking back up with our Board of County Commissioners meeting. Next up is public comment. We're going to have two public comment periods. I'll explain that in a moment. The first comment period is related to items included on today's business agenda. Today, the Board of County Commissioners is launching a pilot of a new process for public comment. There will be two public comment periods during the meeting, each for 3 minutes per speaker. The first comment period will be in the previous spot, which is toward the front of the meeting, related to specific business items contained on today's board agenda. The second period for all other topic areas will occur toward the end of the meeting. Speakers may provide comment during either or both of the two comment periods. Please sign up on the correct, we'll be asking you to sign up on the correct sign-up sheet in the future. There might have been confusion today, so I will kind of go over that, but that's kind of the scheme. So looking at the who did sign up for the sheet for agenda item comment, we have Kim Kelly. Come on up.
Good afternoon,
Do you mind if I go over the guidelines? You can stay right there.
Not at all.
I forgot to do that. So basic guidelines for all public comment. Introduce yourself in areas of county in which you reside when you're called. If you're testifying in the agenda piece, which is now identify the agenda item you're commenting about. Please address board, not audience or staff. Silence your cell phones. The board will not directly respond to public comment. County manager may follow up with specific items on an as-needed basis. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the board. That time cannot be donated to other speakers. Please be respectful. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity for good cause to address the meeting. No comments that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. No outbursts of any kind, comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business, or remarks about pending land use permits or other possible quasi-judicial matters that could come before the board on appeal. All materials provided to the county may be considered public record and subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 RCW. Thank you for your cooperation. Ms. Kelly, you're up for 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. Is this on? Can people hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Kim Kelly. I live in the northeast section of Thurston County. I'm here to address the treatment of surplus property and county-owned property related to Department Item 6.2. First, I want to thank you for changing the ordinance amending TCC 2.104 regarding the transfer of surplus property to include notice to nearby property owners. I was really happy to see the democratic process working here in Thurston County. Thank you. Second, related to surplus property, thank you for removing from surplus consideration the 8 county-owned acres north of Burfoot Park. As you know, the Burfoot Park Expansion Committee of the Boston Harbor Association is hoping that this property will be added to Burfoot Park eventually. We are working on acquiring the 5 small privately owned parcels interspersed among the county parcels, so there is a continuous area of land for the expansion. We just acquired our first parcel last month and will donate or otherwise transfer it to the county. Thank you, Commissioner Mejia and staff, for figuring out the donation process for us. The next step to expand Burfoot Park is the park's open space and trails plan. Public parks, open space, trails, and the natural resources they protect are vitally important to me and my community. There are several others here with me: Jules James, Mary Ann Tompkins, Ray Helwig, Larry Seal, and Karen Spain. Clearly, these are important to the public too. In the Thurston 2045 public survey conducted to assess the public's priorities for the update to the comprehensive plan, the #1 comment category for 3 of the 5 questions asked had to do with parks, outdoor activities, green space, the environment, and outdoor recreation. With the public's clear priorities and expanding Burfoot Park in mind, I respectfully request the county commissioners to do the following. First, prioritize updating our park's open space and trails plan. The plan is dated May 2020, so it is now out of date, as it's to be in place for 5 years. It's critical to update this plan to achieve its overall goals, but also so the county is eligible to apply for Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office funds. Our eligibility expires in November 2026. Please find the funding to update the post plan. Second, increase the number of maintenance staff for parks, open space, and trails according to local, state, and national standards and their peers in the county and state. 4 full-time staff for 2,578 acres of parkland and 825 acres in trails is inadequate to maintain safe parks and trails and expand parks as the public desires. That said, they do a great job and we appreciate them very much. 3, reestablish a Parks and Recreation Department and a Citizen Advisory Committee. My comments are submitted with respect and gratitude for the work you do on behalf of the people of Thurston County. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. This is our very first public comment under this new format. And I will just point out that part of that was related to an item on the agenda and part wasn't. And so I'm going to give latitude, but it's a learning experience for us to kind of go through and get this process sorted through. So, but thank you for your comments, Kelly. Ms. Willis was next, and she, I know, had to leave. Mr. Halverson, I believe, is going to be, I spoke with him before the meeting. He's going to be in the second comment period, and I believe Ms. Fitzhugh as well. So, okay. So, is there anyone who signed up? I'm going to go through the names. Is there anyone else who signed up that wanted to provide comment on an agenda item? Maybe got on the wrong sheet. Okay. And we will close the first public comment period, and we will have a second one later in the meeting. Next up is County Manager's update.
Thank you so much, Chair. I have a exciting update to provide. Public Works County Engineer Matt Unzelman was elected as Western Representative on the Washington State Association of County Engineers 2025-2026 Board of Directors. Give him a round of applause. WACI is an affiliate of the Washington State Association of Counties with the vision to be an organization of county public works professionals respected both locally and nationally for leadership and stewardship addressing the infrastructure and service needs of society. Matt was elected from among his engineer peers in Washington State. In recognition of his leadership, he's demonstrated as a county engineer. In addition to serving on the WACI board, his responsibilities will include coordinating 2 conferences for Westside members. Congratulations to Matt for this honor and representing Thurston County and for your professional growth. We're very proud of you.
All right. Good to go, County Manager. All right. Thanks. Congrats, Matt. Next up is the consent agenda. We have items 1 through 20. Are there any requests to remove items beyond what's already been removed? If not, I'll be entertaining a motion.
I move to approve the consent calendar as presented on the agenda.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 20. Non-debatable motion. A call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. That brings us to department item under 6, Central Services, Commerce Clean Energy Community Grant Agreement. And Rick Thomas here to brief the board.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Rick Thomas, the Capital Projects Planning Manager, and today I'm bringing this to you. Thurston County completed a feasibility study in November of 2023 with the Washington Department of Commerce Solar Plus Storage for Resilient Communities Technical Assistant Program for a solar, photovoltaic, and battery energy storage system at the headquarters of Thurston County Public Health and Social Services Building. The study provided a conceptual design, budget, schedule, and implementation plan for the project, which enabled this successful implementation grant. The project will benefit overburdened communities and vulnerable populations by strengthening resiliency with this critical facility, advance statewide goals for distributed energy resources, and support the county's implementation of Action B5.3 of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. The Central Services Department will manage the project with grant administration support from the Climate Mitigation Senior Program Manager. And we're asking you to approve grant contract number 25-922 1A-033 with the Washington State Department of Commerce Clean Energy Community Grant Program to receive grant funding for the amount of $1,389,068.50. Any questions?
I have a comment. So I just want to say this is really exciting to be able to move forward with battery energy storage systems. And it's really smart to move towards sustainable, energy. But I also just want to comment, and this comes from my biologist father who is sending me information all the time, that at the same time, I just want to comment that we want to make sure we're thoughtful on how these systems get implemented and consider risks like overheating and wildfire, and that we lead with just innovation and safety. And so just making sure, but this is really cool. We're really excited to see us get a grant for this.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I move to approve contract number 25-9221A-033 with the Washington State Department of Commerce Clean Energy Community Grant Program to receive grant funding for the amount of $1,389,068.50 for construction and installation of a solar photovoltaic and battery energy storage system at Thurston County Public Health and Social Services with no required match from the county, and authorize the county manager to execute the contract and amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and second to approve this contract with Department of Commerce. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Next item, ordinance amending the Thurston County Code 2.104 to regulate the disposition of public property for affordable housing.
Okay, Rick Thomas again. This ordinance amending the county code is the special disposition process would apply where the county has real property that is surplus to its needs. Transfer of the property would result in a public benefit as defined by RCW 39.33.015, such as but not limited to contributing to supply of affordable housing, supporting temporary housing or other response to homelessness, improving essential public services such as transportation or utilities that support the goals of affordable housing development, and providing economic and social stability for low-income persons. And I would also like to note that this was part of a public hearing that was on May the 20th. There were a couple of comments regarding public notification, and due to that, the commissioners have agreed that we will include a 30-day notification period into the ordinance to allow property owners within the vicinity to be notified before any action would actually officially take place. And so this action, we're asking you to approve the ordinance for this code change. Any questions?
Questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve the ordinance amending Thurston County Code 2.104 to regulate the disposition of public property for affordable housing in accordance with RCW 39.33.015.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the ordinance amending this code regarding disposition of public property. Any discussion on that motion?
I express thank you for staff for responding to the public comments.
Absolutely.
I'll second that. I'm really appreciative of you working through the process, not only with the different concerns that were brought up in terms of public notice, but also with just answering the different questions that came through. So thank you, Rick.
We do listen. That's nice.
Okay, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Commissioner's Office item is next, resolution to adopt 2024-25 biennial budget amendment 2.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Summer Miller, Budget and Finance Manager, situated in the Commissioner's office. Before you is a resolution adopting Amendment 2 of the 2024-2025 biennial budget. RCW 3640-100 provides authority to adopt supplemental operating and capital appropriations to the 2024-2025 biennial budget. Thurston County has received new grants in which departments need an increase to their expense budget to utilize, and Thurston County has increased capital funding related to projects that were not completed and will continue through 2025. The overall increase to the expenditure appropriations to the general fund is $6,100,371, and the increase to all other funds totals $5,031,102. Amendment 2 was published in the Nisqually Valley News on June 5th and June 12th, 2025. Happy to answer any questions, and thank you.
Questions for Summer? My recollection was that there were 0 increases of non-maintenance level general fund expenditures approved in this amendment. Am I remembering that correctly?
You are correct, outside of previously approved items that happened throughout the year that we needed to add to the amendment.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve the resolution adopting Amendment 2 of the 2024 to 2025 biennial budget.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the resolution adopting Amendment 2. Any discussion? Commissioner Grant?
Yes, so I will be voting, I think I'll be abstaining from this, passing this amendment, just because at this point, I don't believe that we have a complete picture and all of the revenue and represented to really make an informed decision. I also have concerns about not or ignoring or not being able to represent, all the different departments who need the necessary resources that they've asked for. So with that, that is the reason I'll be abstaining from this vote.
Any other comments or questions, discussion?
I have a discussion point to make.
Go
I
ahead.
just want to thank Summer and the team. I remember when I was in my first year and I felt the same way about budget amendments and budget votes, and I abstained from quite a few of them because there's just so much information to know. But I will say in the previous weeks, the way that the budget team has presented the information to us far surpasses what my experience has been. Just the ease of, understanding and processing the information based on the way it's been presented to us has really, really helped. I will be, voting yes for this, but I do also want to kind of echo some of what Commissioner Grant said. I think it's really hard to find a way to give a full picture to a board of 5 commissioners on a budget as big as the county's. But you're doing a really good job. And so I just want to give thanks and give kudos for that, while also just acknowledging that we're constantly working to improve the process as well, which is well evidenced in the paper trail of documents that we've kind of looked at as a board. So I look forward to continuing to improve the processes and kind of getting some of that additional information that we've talked about in recent meetings to get that full picture. But I feel pretty comfortable with this. I do also want to echo Commissioner Grant's statements about supporting departments and offices who are asking for critical positions, but I think that's a larger discussion. And for the purposes of today's discussion, I just want to say thank you again. It's just been really helpful. This process has been really informative for me, so I appreciate you.
Thank you.
In your defense, Commissioner Klaus, you and Commissioner Fournier were sworn in 2 weeks before approval of a biennial budget that you didn't have any part in building. So
True.
I think that it was reasonable for you to do that. This is kind of, Commissioner Grant's kind of the same boat in a way in this case. But anyway, thank you, Summer, and we'll move forward. With this, anything else for this item? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention?
One abstention.
Okay. 401. That's approved. Okay. Next up is Human Resources. Ordinance amending Thurston County Code related to Thurston County Citizens Commission on Salaries for Elected Officials.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Maria Ponte, HR Director. The item before you is to amend the Thurston County Code Chapter 2.0 4.118 related to the Thurston County Salary Commission. The proposed changes to the code revise the Salary Commission positions to be consistent with changes to the state law, including the following. Updating the commissioner districts from 3 to 5 due to redistricting. Each district will have one representative on the Salary Commission, which is a voter selected by lot by the county auditor. The Salary Commission will continue to have 4 board-appointed members who meet the state law requirements and have experience in the field of personnel management or related field. Following public hearing and comments received and as requested by the board, the ordinance language was adjusted as follows. 4 of the commission members must be residents of Thurston County and shall be appointed by a majority of the vote of the Board of County Commissioners. 3 of the persons selected under this subsection must have experience in the field of personnel management or related field other than organized labor. The 4th member must be selected from the related field of organized labor. And the final point is any current Salary Commission members whose terms have not expired will be confirmed and will continue to serve, and if approved, will initiate a recruitment process for the board-appointed positions. With that, I'd be happy to answer any follow-up questions.
Okay, we've had several discussions on this item. Anything from Maria? Okay, your motion.
I move to approve the ordinance amending Thurston County Code Sections 2.118.010, 2.118.030, 2.118.040, 2.118.050, and 2.118.080, and repealing Section 2.118.100 relating to the Thurston County Citizens Commission on Salaries for Elected Officials.
Second.
Motion is second to approve this ordinance amending the Salary Commission's code sections. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, also HR, resolution extending recruitment incentives program for lateral deputy sheriffs and corrections deputies.
Okay, Maria Ponte again, HR Director. This request before you is to extend a pilot program for lateral sheriff deputies and corrections deputies. The pilot went very well, and just to recap, on the patrol side, they received 59 qualified applicants, and of those, they were able to hire 14. On the corrections side, they received 25 qualified applicants and made 2 hires from that pool. The program initially had a hiring bonus component that will be removed, and the sheriff's office is really looking to focus on awarding 40 hours of vacation and 40 hours of sick leave to new lateral candidates. So it's not any deputy that they're hiring via recruitment. It's lateral deputies from other law enforcement agencies. And the second component is to award 40 hours of leave to current sheriff's office employees that make a referral, and then that person is hired. The request is to extend it through October 31st of 2025, and that will give us an opportunity to further explore the proposal and work with the unions to bargain impacts. And there is no additional funding with this request. So with that, are there any questions, follow-up questions?
I have Sheriff Sanders, and Sheriff, I'm going to give you the chance to say whatever you want to say, but could you start off by, since we're kind of bringing this forward in a public forum, could you just kind of explain briefly the value, what's the value of having a lateral hire? Just that kind of prompted this whole effort to begin with to have a lateral incentive program. What's the difference?
Yeah, absolutely.
there's a couple different ways to look at this. So the first obvious one is that there is a cost savings in hiring laterals because they don't have to attend the academy, and they also have a condensed training phase. So traditionally, like patrol is a little bit longer, but for a patrol deputy, it's about 14 months before they start contributing to being a totally solo patrol deputy. For a lateral, it's about 4 weeks. So you can see just the time frame in which you're able to close that gap. That all signifies overtime. And so that's where we were coming up with our original figures when we first proposed the initial, the bonus and all that stuff, is that a lateral basically saved about $63,000 in a rolling 12-month period when you account for overtime, training, benefits, all those types of things that we're paying to keep the agency up and running. And then the second piece of the lateral portion is more of just the image of the office. So from 2021 to 2024, the sheriff's office had 0 lateral applicants get hired, which told me that there was a problem with our sheriff's office, that there's not a single cop out of the 1 million in the country who want to come work here. Since we launched the incentive program, and we've had a number of other wins, as you guys know as well: body cameras, a new building, better staffing, better vehicles. Since then, Maria is correct. We've had almost 60 lateral applicants apply. I do have updated figures from Maria. However, for the patrol side, we just hired our 22nd lateral. So you can multiply 22 times 63,000, subtract a bonus, you get $38,000 in overtime cost savings that we would have incurred had we just hired entry-level applicants for each of those positions. And so with that, I mean, that was the biggest value that it brought from us. It reduced the time to train. It also is indicative of the successes we've had as an agency, that other officers and deputies across the country, reaching as far as Boston and Alaska, are now applying with our office. And then the last piece of it is that obviously they also come with experience. So whereas entry-level candidates, we never really know if they're going to make it past the academy and the field training, it's very challenging. The laterals are a much surer bet because we already know they can do the work.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Maria or Sheriff Sanders about this item? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve 2 resolutions extending the pilot recruitment incentives program for the purposes of attracting and hiring lateral deputy sheriffs and corrections deputies for the Thurston County Sheriff's Office.
Second?
Motion and second to approve these 2 resolutions. And is there discussion on that motion? Commissioner Klaus.
Yeah, just real quick, I want to express my appreciation for staff and the sheriff's team for their responsiveness in providing data related to this program to the best of your ability. I learned a lot in the back and forth between our, questions about the success, rates of this program and potential areas where we could try to maybe drill down on some metrics moving forward if it's possible. One of those areas being tracking whether leave hours used by lateral hires are resulting in overtime backfill, which I know can be kind of tricky to track, but even like rough estimates would be helpful for me in the future when we look again in October to see if we want to extend this program further. I think it kind of builds upon the story that we're telling about how this is successful and how it's benefiting the sheriff's office. And then I had a question about the hires. Do you happen to know how many hires have been made on patrol that weren't lateral hires since this program started?
Yeah, give me just 1 second here. I'll pull it up. My camera's going to get shaky. I've got it handy here. So it's broken down by year for us. So it says the 2023, this is for patrol only. In 2023, the total number of deputies hired was 15, 0 laterals. In 2024, we hired 19 entry-level deputies and 11 lateral deputies. And then in 2025, this hasn't been updated quite yet to account for the ones we just hired. But we've hired 4 entry-level, and I believe we're at 7 lateral deputy sheriffs for the first half of this year now.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, all the time you took to answer my questions. Thanks, Maria.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, remind me, we have a motion and a second already, so I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Maria. Next up, Public Defense. There are two items, and we have our Director, Patrick O'Connor here, regarding contracts with the Office of Public Defense for the state of Washington. These are items 1 and 2. Good afternoon, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Patrick O'Connor, Director of Public Defense. Have two items on. One's a funding agreement with our office and State Office of Public Defense to fund a Blake full-time defense attorney. We've enjoyed having a Blake attorney in our office for a little over 3 years now. We started with 2 and a professional staff. We're down to 1 as state funding decreases. But this position has been incredibly successful for our office, our community, our former clients, and helping clients get their prior criminal convictions vacated pursuant to State v. Blake back in 2021 when that decision came down. So asking the board for approval to authorize myself to execute a contract with State Office of Public Defense. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, this is item 1 regarding Blake. Can you just maybe just remind the public what Blake is?
So State v. Blake was a decision by our Washington State Supreme Court in 2021 that rendered unlawful possession of a controlled substance an invalid law and retroactively, bless you, any convictions under that former statute invalid. So it set forth an opportunity for former clients to get those convictions vacated. There are, I think the clerk's office estimated since 1992 over 14,000 of those convictions. We're not anywhere near all the convictions that could be vacated, but we've done a lot of work, which includes legal financial obligation relief when convictions vacated. If our former clients paid court debt on those convictions, which it was statutory forever, $1,000 per conviction, $2,000 if you had a prior. So just wildly successful for our clients. I could give you a success story after success story of clients getting their professional license now, apartments, homes, even traveling abroad. So a lot of incredible stories that our team could tell you that have been passed on to me. So we continue to do this work, and there's still a handful of clients that are in the Department of Corrections that are eligible to be resentenced, right? So if you had a prior conviction, it would be a point on your record. Your felony offender score would be in some range. And if you're in the Department of Corrections and now you no longer have that conviction, it lowers your incarceration period. So we've done hundreds of resentencings for individuals, getting them out of prison. We still have a handful of those to go. So this attorney will continue to do that work for our community. And if anybody wants to reach out to Thurston County Public Defense, visit our website, call our office, and if you have one of these convictions, we'll help you out.
All right. Any questions on that? Item 1. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the funding agreement with Washington State Office of Public Defense Blake Program to reimburse Thurston County's public defense up to $234,832 for the cost of providing defense counsel pursuant to Washington State v. Blake for the term of July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, and to authorize the Director of Public Defense to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Motion and second on the Blake Program reimbursement contract. Any discussion on that motion? Commissioner Grant.
Yes, I just want to commend you for, quickly, not all counties take advantage of this funding. And I think it's really incredible that Thurston County has such passionate folks leading in our court system that would, continue to make sure that we're doing this incredible work. And this program, as you already said, significantly changes lives, and allows for people to get their master's degrees and their the different things that can hold them back. And so I just want to say thank you for all of the work that you're doing. And I'm going to reiterate it again, that if you have a conviction of simple possession to have vacated, that the Thurston County Public Defense will help you get that done. So thank you for that.
You bet. It's our honor. The next item I have
Hold on,
is.
I think we have to vote.
Yeah, we
Oh,
How does that relate to master's degree? I'm just curious.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah, please.
So if you're if you're working on if you're working towards a social work degree, or you're working towards a psychology degree, and you have a possession, or you have a prior drug conviction, it can require you to do multiple steps. You have to go under some review and do multiple steps in order to get your credential.
So to get enrolled in the program,
So to get a credential, it would make it easier for you to get a credential. It also will make it a lot easier for you to be accepted into different positions that have requirements that say, if you have a conviction, you can't work here. And so it eliminates that.
Yes, Commissioner, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of professional licenses in the state of Washington. To be licensed, you have to be felony-free.
And other
So-
states have even different rules.
Yep.
Yeah, it really depends.
I helped someone in Oregon.
Yep.
Medical license.
Yeah.
And we had to go through all sorts of gymnastics to deal with the Washington issues.
Yep.
Or they would lose their license in Oregon.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
That's good stuff.
Okay, so I'll call for the vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Did I do the motion?
Yep.
Okay, aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now let's go on to item 2.
Great, so item 2 is another contract with the State Office of Public Defense, asking the board to approve a contract with the State Office of Public Defense for representation of indigent clients involuntarily committed. The terms of that contract is July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and authorize the Director of Public Defense to execute said contract. So this contract, we were successful as an applicant as a county 2 years ago. The State Office of Public Defense actually changed the statute, which requires the State Office of Public Defense to provide these representations and to fund them. We jumped at the chance to form an additional FTE in our office to just exclusively do this work. It was really twofold. One was for trial attorneys with a full caseload, like myself many years ago, to not have these cases coming into a felony attorney's client caseload because they're incredibly complex, and to take the essentially out of the rotation of our attorneys doing trial work and exclusively fund this position. It also saves general fund dollars, right? Because these cases were coming onto our caseloads for years. So great opportunity, big appreciation to State Office of Public Defense for making this available and awarding us again for this period. And frankly, I see this contract being renewed every year. So just ask for authority to do that.
I can add that when I worked as a public defender in Fairbanks, we had a very unique model. I know you and I have talked about before, where there was 10 of us, and we did 1/10 of every kind of case in the whole office. The exception to that was these kind of cases, where the boss was like, no, we've got to have a dedicated attorney. So that was the only kind of case of all the kind of cases: child dependency, juvenile dependency, felonies, the most serious down to the lowest felony. We split those, but it was deemed to be just too disruptive to the clients who weren't getting, a specialist in the field because it's complex. The whole rhythm of the case is so different than everything else you're doing. It just really is difficult as an attorney to try to change gears and do a case like that in the middle of all the other trials work you're doing.
Yeah. And these cases can last anywhere from a statutory maximum of felony from 5 years, 10 years to life. So while I'm not doing many of these representations, I'm continuing to represent one client who I represented 16 years ago on a very serious case, but these cases can take years and years and years. So we're excited to dedicate this resource exclusively to that work.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a motion on this one? Question? Yeah.
Just for the public's benefit, can you kind of explain what an indigent client is?
Sure. An indigent client is, in this context, is an individual accused of committing a crime who falls below the federal poverty guidelines and is eligible for the appointment of counsel at no expense. Of course, that's a constitutional right, both here in the state of Washington and the United States, to be appointed counsel if you cannot afford one. We represent over 90% of all individuals accused in Thurston County of a felony offense, and a little over 85% of all individuals, adults that is, accused of committing a crime in our district court or misdemeanor.
So 90% are considered indigent?
Yes, correct. Yep. And of course, we represent all juveniles who are kids that are can't work and are presumed to be indigent. So.
And how many does that equate to a year, roughly?
Juveniles?
Both.
Off the top of my head, I could ballpark it. So with that caveat, probably about 3,000. Yeah, probably about 3,000 clients, just in that context.
Questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the contract with the Washington State Office of Public Defense for attorney representation for indigent clients involuntarily committed, effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and authorize the Director of Public Defense to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Motion and second to approve contract regarding indigent client involuntarily commitments. And is there any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, thank you. I want to just thank Patrick, for all your work, all of your advocacy for people who really need representation the most. Hearing the 90% and 85% metric that you just gave is shocking. I didn't actually know that many people were served on your office, and that just goes to show that this is, it's a constitutional issue, of course, and then this also, the previous item, show that this is a public health issue as well, recognizing that the core of a lot of criminal behavior is behavioral health or substance use related, and that those types of behaviors require care. It's just really, really important work. So I commend you for all of your work on this and appreciate your advocacy.
Thank you, and just publicly thank my office. They defend the defenders. They do all the work. So, thank you.
Defend the defenders.
That's right.
Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Patrick, next up is Public Health and Social Services Affordable Housing Funding Awards.
Hi, Dr. Jen Freiheit, Director of Public Health and Social Services. This is a request for the board to approve the proposed Affordable Housing Capital Funding Awards to fund 8 projects totaling a combined estimate of $5,236,242. On January 2021, the Regional Housing 2025, the Regional Housing Council approved issuing a request for proposals to solicit applications for capital affordable housing projects. The RFP was issued January 24th and closed on February 28th. Funding was available under the RFP comes from the local home fund. There were 10 eligible applications requesting approximately $10.4 million. And this funding is expected to support the creation of 186 new units of affordable housing and assist in the rehabilitation of 66 units.
10.4 was the total amount of requests?
Of requests.
So we funded about half
Correct.
of what was asked for. Okay. Any other questions for Dr. Freiheit?
Can you list the 8 projects, please? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Nope, that's fine. So there is
sorry.
the Franz Anderson Permanent Supportive Housing Project, affordable housing for low-income households through Homes First, another Homes First preservation of 26 affordable housing properties, the critical home repair at Rebuilding Together Thurston County, another critical home repair for South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity, and another Habitat for Humanity Boulevard project. And then the final 2 are Homes First, affordable housing for persons with developmental disabilities. There are 2 separate pipelines for those. And those are the 8.
I move to approve the Affordable Housing Capital Funding Awards to fund 8 projects for a combined total estimated amount of $5,236,242, and authorize Public Health and Social Services to issue funding award letters.
Second.
Second to approve the capital funding awards for affordable housing. Discussion on the motion.
Thank you, Jen. Thanks to your team. And I also want to thank the Thurston Affordable Housing Advisory Board for their work on prioritizing these applications.
Okay, I will call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Chair, I know we still have a department item and then Commissioners' Committee reports, but seeing that we're about to start our public hearings, can we start with public comment before we move on?
Do we need to amend the motion to the agenda?
I will move to amend the agenda to start hearing public comment before moving on to our last department item and our Commissioners' Community reports. Just get through as much as we can before our 3:30 public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion second, discussion on the motion.
I would just say that the public hearing starts in less than 3 minutes. And we have to start the public hearing at the posted time. And the public comment period is 3 minutes per person. So the math doesn't math.
Well, ideally, we start at 3:30 or as soon thereafter. We could authorize getting through public comment and then moving straight to public hearing in order to satisfy the motion if the board is open to that. I would be okay with either way.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you. We have been advised by legal to keep the public hearing start times as close to 3:30 as possible, because those are the times that are noticed in the public notices that go out in the legal newspaper.
How many people do we have signed up?
Oh, and the time it took to discuss this, we're at 3:29, so.
Okay, now it's time for the public hearing.
I remove my motion.
All right, well, it's 3:28. Let's go ahead and take our Public Works item and then start the public hearings. Public Works, contract award for analytical laboratory testing services contract.
Good afternoon. My name is Gerald Towsley. I'm the Solid Waste Facility Operators Manager out at the Waste Recovery Center. Public Works Solid Waste Division operates and maintains the Hawks Prairie Closed landfill located at the Waste Recovery Center, which was capped and closed in April of 2000. The closed landfill is currently monitored and controlled by the county in accordance with regulatory post-closure reporting requirements from Washington Administrative Code 173-350 for groundwater, leachate, landfill, gas, and stormwater. Public Works is responsible for the collection of water samples from the closed landfill and testing by an accredited analytical laboratory, and to provide quarterly and annual groundwater reports to the Department of Ecology. To meet these requirements, the county has a need for an ongoing analytical laboratory testing on a recurring basis. On April 17th, 2025, one proposal was received from Eurofin Environmental Testing Northwest, LLC of Tacoma to provide required laboratory testing services. Bids are received in response to the request for proposal advertised on March 27th, 2025. Public Works evaluated, scored the proposal based on the contractor's qualifications, experience, past performance, references, key personnel, technical approach, and reasonable rates. The proposal from Eurofin Environmental Testing Northwest was accepted, and the rates considered reasonable. The term of the contract will be a maximum of 5 years, consisting of 1 year base period and 4 one-year renewal options. The maximum ceiling amount will be for $500,000. All contract expenditures will be funded through revenues from the solid waste facility tipping fees. Any questions?
Questions for Gerald? Nope, ready for motion.
I move to approve the contract, I move to award the contract for analytical laboratory testing services at the Waste and Recovery Center to Eurofin's Environment Testing Northwest, LLC of Tacoma, Washington, in the amount of $500,000, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and amendments for up to 10% contingency, $50,000, or a total of $550,000.
Motion and second. Second sound like a question.
Second? I was like, yep, second. How's
Okay,
that?
thank you. A motion and a second for this contract with analytical testing services for the work. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, I will call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
All right, so it's 3:31. We're going to recess the board meeting. Commissioner community reports and public comment on general topics will follow. 2 public hearings, which I do anticipate to be fairly brief, so hang in there if you want to complete the meeting. First up is a public hearing for the fiscal year 2025 HUD Annual Action Plan and 2023 to 2025 HUD Consolidated Plan Amendment. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select BOCC meetings, hearings, and work session agendas. The information to join this public hearing remotely is posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Alex Purse, Affordable Housing Program Manager, will provide information on this topic. Assuming anyone on Zoom wishes to testify, your name will be read aloud. You do not need to sign up in any particular fashion. You have 3 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you are called on, please state your name and address for the record. Public hearing is now open, and Alex will present some background information, summarize any written comments that have been submitted, and provide any additional information requested by the board.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. Alex First, Affordable Housing Program Manager. The public hearing that we're holding today is on our 2025 Annual Action Plan and our Consolidated Plan Amendment. So annually, Thurston County receives HUD funding, our U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, for both our Home Investment Partnership Program and the Community Development Block Grant Program. This funding provides a variety of activities that serve low-income households and individuals. This funding is contingent upon a 5-year consolidated plan, which the most recently one adopted was 2023 to 2027. And each year of the consolidated plan has an annual action plan. So this year's annual action plan is for program year 2025. Our program year starts in September, so September 1, and runs through August 31st. Our annual action plan identifies specific projects during each year of the approved plan that are to be funded through that year's funding. This year, the annual action plan projects were selected for the Community Development Block Grant Program, were selected by the mayors from Tenino, Bucota, Yum, Rainier, and Commissioner Fournier from Thurston County's Board of County Commissioners. The recommended project and their amounts are listed in the agenda item summary, but they are All Kids Win Weekend Food Bags, Boys and Girls Club of Thurston County for the Rochester Club Scholarship, Rochester Organization of Families for Kids Place After School and Summer Program, Senior Services for South Sound for the Home Share Program, Tenino Community Services Center for the Senior Low Income Shut-In Home Delivery Service, Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Cultural Foundation of Thurston County for Grand Mound Community Park, and the Town of Bucota for their volunteer park renovation. For the Home Investment Partnership Program that was selected through the RHC and the Thurston Affordable Housing Advisory Board, that project selected to receive home funding includes Low Income Housing Institute's Fran Anderson Permanent Supportive Housing Project. So this year we anticipate receiving $767,836 for our home program and $919,511 for our CDBG program. So all of that is outlined in our annual action plan. In addition to submitting the annual action plan this year, we're also submitting an amendment to our consolidated plan, our 2023-2027 consolidated plan. This amendment is necessary because at the time of execution in 2023, the City of Lacey was included in our Thurston County Urban County Consortium and received funds from HUD through the county. In 2024, the City of Lacey elected to become their own entitlement community and receive funds directly from HUD. So essentially, this amendment updates language, goals, and anticipated resources amounts in our consolidated plan. So far, we have received one public comment. That public comment was in regards to
coordinated entry that is used in Thurston County and the homeless crisis response plan, neither of which are addressed in our annual action plan and consolidated plan, but we will include that for submission in our plan to HUD. We started the public comment period on May 16th, and it closes at the end of business today. This was advertised in the Nisqually Valley News as well as on our website and on social media. I'm happy to provide any additional information that you all would like. Thank you.
Before we go to public comments? Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the boardroom who's here to provide public comment on the HUD annual plan? Then we will go, there's one person on Zoom. Can someone help me with the name?
Chris something?
Nori Lias.
Yes, hello. Thank you for taking my comment here. My name is Chris Norelius, and I live in southeast Thurston County off of Yelm Highway. And I'm here to support the Thurston Regional Planning Council decision to approve the removal of the Log Cabin Road extension from the Regional Transportation Plan.
Okay, ma'am, we're actually we're in a public hearing on a different matter. We will get to general public comment in some matter of minutes, if you can hang forward. And now that I know what you want to testify about, I'll make sure you get called at the right time.
Great. I didn't see a way to sign up, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's perfect. Just hang tight. So I think we have no public comment on this particular item. So is there a motion to close public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. And now we have a potential action to adopt the resolution to adopt the plan.
I move to approve the resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025 Housing and Urban Development Annual Action Plan and authorize the chair of the Board of County Commissioners to execute the HUD Form SF 424 and 424B and applicable program certifications and approve submission of the plan to HUD.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion on that motion? Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now moving on to our second and final public hearing. This is regarding a proposed ordinance amending Thurston County Code Chapter 8.30, Lot, Discharge, and Industrial Pretreatment Regulations. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public comment on the proposed ordinance amending Chapter 8.30, Lot, Discharge, and Industrial Pretreatment Regulations. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online, select BOCC meetings, hearings, and work session agendas. The information to join this public hearing remotely is posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Season Long Environmental Health Division Director will provide information on this topic. Assuming those on Zoom wish to testify, your name will be read aloud. You'll have 3 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you are called on, please state your name and the area of the county in which you reside for the record. This public hearing is now open. Susan will present background information, summarize written comment submitted, if any, and provide any additional information requested by the board. Good afternoon. You're up.
Season Long Environmental Division Director, Public Health and Social Services. Today, we are requesting the board approve the ordinance amending Thurston County Code, Chapter 8.30, Lot Discharge and Industrial Pretreatment Regulations. For some background, Lot Clean Water Alliance provides wastewater management services for the urban areas of Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater in Thurston County. Earlier this year, Lot updated their discharge and industrial pretreatment regulations to align with new standards established by Department of Ecology, including dental dischargers and grease trap interceptors. Per the interlocal agreement established in 1999, the county will consider and act upon revisions adopted by Lot Board of Directors. I did not receive any public comment, but I'd be happy to answer questions.
Questions on this item? All right, is there anyone in the boardroom to give public comment on this item? And we know Ms. Norelius is not either, so it looks like we have no public comment on this item. Any discussion or motion to close public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing is closed, and now we have a proposed action.
I move to approve the ordinance amending Thurston County Code, Chapter 8.30, Lot Discharge and Industrial Pretreatment Regulations, to align with the Washington State Department of Ecology standards for dental discharge and grease interceptors as approved by the Lot Board of Directors.
Second.
Motion and second to approve this ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Okay, pretty easy. So now we are going to jump back to our Board of County Commissioners meeting. We have 2 remaining items on the agenda. First is Commissioners' Community Reports. Any volunteers to begin?
I will pass on my community reports in order to move on to public comments.
I attended the joint modernization, the jail modernization task force Friday, which we hosted here in the atrium. It was well attended, and we voted on it was the last meeting. We were cut short about 6 months early due to the state kind of cutting our funding. And we went over multiple recommendations that the task force had flushed out. And there will be a final report that is due to the legislature, I believe in July, that I look forward to sharing with everybody. I came in and judged some art along with the rest of you in the countywide art contest. I had a meeting with some staff and about compliance processes and look forward to exploring those processes more. Had a meeting with Medic One staff, so I've kind of added that to my repertoire in addition to the Medic One board meeting. I'm doing a Medic One kind of check-in with the director, and those are going really well. And then had a joint meeting with the cities and Experience Olympia Beyond, where we talked about what is going on with the VCB, some of their planning, and how that affects and intersects with the different municipalities.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Grant?
Sure. Let's see. So I attended quite a few board meetings. I'll just mention a couple. I had a chance to sit in on the Innovative Justice meeting, attended the Thurston Mason VHO governing board meeting, and then the Transportation Policy Board meeting, and Sea Level Rise Response Collaborative. That was my first one. They're quarterly, and so it was exciting to be a part of that and to start talking about updating the strategic plan, and that was pretty neat. I've attended quite a few community events. I went to the NAMI Walk, which is the National Association of Mental Illness, the Lacey Rotary Duck Dash. Attended the Experience Olympia and Beyond Sports Commission Awards, where my own husband was nominated, and volunteered at Prairie Days and represented Prairie Days Parade out in Yelm. That was really great, and participated out there in the charity mushball tournament, and helped with a schoolhouse rock the boat booth at the Yelm City Park, and that was pretty cool. Also went on a Harlequin production tour. Got to be an usher at the Civic Pride Honor Roll ceremony, which I just want to say was incredible at the Thurston County Fairgrounds. Auditor Hall and her team did this most amazing thing where people who had voted 50 years or more were honored, and it was just incredible. And it was a really exciting to be with folks who really care, and Denny Heck spoke, and it was just really, anyway, I just want to make sure that and commend the auditor's office and all of their staff for the amount of work and time that was put into that, because it was really special. Attended a new board meeting, a new nonprofit that's coming down from Pierce County called Family Promise. They'll be adding, Commerce gave them a grant. They'll be coming into our area next year. Attended a Beach Crest Community Action meeting, and did a lot of different constituent outreach. And then met with the Board of Judges, treasurer, and then statewide boards. Attended the 911 Advisory Committee meeting in Clark College in Vancouver, and our statewide advisory committee on homelessness meeting, and also did some training. And the last thing I on signature verification. So I'm learning how to do that. But the last thing I do want to mention is during this last few weeks, I had my first kind of events from my own group of people. I had 2 interns for the last couple months, and my assistant Ashley, and I just want to commend them for the amount of work that they put in to bring forward my first town hall, which was a community learning collaborative. And we had nearly 100 different participants that joined with all of these. There was, well over 60 community organizations in attendance. And it was really successful. It was overwhelming response from folks around really grateful for the opportunity for people to connect, for them to share ideas, and really just talk about how do we collaborate and not compete for services. So our next event will be September 11th. We had to move the date. I'm just going to say that out loud, had to move the date because it was in conflict with something else. But that will be another event like that, and focus more on the realm of housing providers. And so very cool, and excited to do that. And that's my report.
Did you take Disco Dave?
Oh, yeah, and let's just talk about Disco Dave. And Disco Dave, for those who don't know, has attended many of these events with me. Was in the Pride Parade, or in the, not Pride Parade, but in the Prairie Days Parade with me. Has, even has made a couple of appearances at Starbucks. And for
What's
those.
his favorite drink?
To
get a
iced
Starbucks.
Americano. Yeah, and so Thurston County Fair is July 31st through August 3rd, and you all can party with Disco Dave if you show up to this fair. And he will continue to make his rounds all across the county. He even went to the mush ball tournament, and he made his way out on the field. So Disco Dave is going to be a great mascot, and I'm looking forward to meeting him in person.
Pancakes, August 2nd.
Yes, August 2nd.
Commissioner Pancake Breakfast.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yep.
Commissioner Grant, Commissioner Klaus.
Thanks. I have a long list.
Oh, Lord.
Just kidding. I see you smiling
Yeah,
over there.
I
I
know.
thought I would.
I didn't mind being a little honest.
No, I don't have that long of a list. So external committee meetings, I attended Thurston County Opioid Abatement Council on behalf of Commissioner Grant. We had a solid waste advisory committee meeting. I met with the Maria Tobin from the South Sound Military Communities Partnership. I'm learning a lot about that, but I'll save that for another day. Joint Animal Services Commission meeting. I attended the Thurston Mason BHASO. And that was it for external committee meetings. My executive aide went to the Community Learning Collaborative with Commissioner Grant's office, and I heard a lot of really good things about that and saw some pictures, and I'm really excited for the next one in September. I went to the Celebrating Pride event with the Nisqually Tribe. That event was awesome, and I have never been to one of their Pride events, but it was by far probably one of the best Pride events I've ever attended. I attended the Lacey Rotary Club meeting, and I also attended the Lacey Rotary Duck Dash. And Commissioner Grant kind of took the words right out of my mouth as far as the Civic Pride Honor Roll ceremony. It was just beautiful. So hats off to Auditor Hall and her team and all the important work they do. And just like honoring people who have voted for 50 years or more in Thurston County was really an incredible event. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. For me, I had, in terms of assignments, from board assignments, there was a law board of directors meeting, Timber County's caucus half-day meeting, the scintillating presentation on the Eastern Washington Sustainable Harvest Calculation, and the Board of Health Policy Subcommittee. State level stuff, I had a State Building Code Council meeting. I had an Office of Public Defense Community Advisory Committee meeting where I serve WASAC, representing county governments. And then the Sentencing Guideline Commission meeting was pretty interesting. We had a deep dive into the first time offender waiver and how effective it's been over time or not effective and why. So that was pretty interesting. Community events, I attended the sports awards and Commissioner Grant for the Grand Mound Rochester Chamber meeting where we recognized the 30th anniversary of the Great Wolf Lodge and leadership there. Innovative Justice meeting took a tour of the Nisqually clinic, a brand new clinic on Pacific Avenue for Medicaid assisted treatment. Tour of that, which will be opening later this summer. A tour, and there was a community event for the 20th anniversary of the real estate and landlord services. They renovated a really old historic building downtown. In fact, the person that did that, Todd Monahan, won a Olympia Heritage Award for the work done on that. But his whole enterprise had a 20th anniversary event downtown. That looks like about it. I was sick for last week and still covered things on Zoom. There are no sick days anymore with technology, so got everything done while I wasn't feeling great, but I missed some community events. But anyway, I know it was a busy week for all of us. So the board will be going on a 3-week break. And again, the commissioners aren't necessarily on a break, but the board as a collective is on a break so that people can coordinate trips or family things or whatever's needed. So there will not be board business all together for the next 3 weeks. Our next board meeting is on July 15th, which is the second day, the Tuesday following the resumption of regular commissioner schedule. So with all of that, we're going to go to our last public comment period. This is public comment related to any general matter. I'm going to go through the lists just to make sure that I didn't miss anyone, and then we'll go to the folks online. You'll have 3 minutes. First on my list is Natasha Hayes. You see her. I know the next 2 people are not here, so Melanie Ravaglia. Who's next?
Hi, my name is Melanie Rabalia. I've been an employee here for 32 years. Thanks for providing me the time to provide testimony before you. I'm feeling a little slighted about that. I do appreciate Commissioner Mejia's attempt to get it going a little bit sooner. I wasn't going to talk about the whole conversation that I heard in the last couple of weeks about 3 minutes and 6 minutes, and we could add it all together and how much time we could talk. When I've been sitting here for 2 hours and I finally get my opportunity to say something, I really don't feel like you really, really, really want to hear what we have to say if we're going to sit around for 2 hours. Just saying. The real reason why I came here was because I wanted to bring your attention to a situation that was happening in Public Works. We have a 17-year employee who had an on-the-job accident, and now she's unable to do her job. She's probably sitting in a meeting right now regarding her separation from employment with Thurston County. She received a letter last week stating that she has been temporarily accommodated, providing office work is a hardship on Thurston County. I'd like to know what about her hardship that was created on her as a Thurston County employee who had an on-the-job accident. She's now hearing impaired, and the hardships that occur on her daily life. If she sat here in this meeting, she wouldn't have been able to hear 3/4 of it because of how she's been impaired. She's been working in my office, doing clerical work. I just don't understand why we can't find a place for her. I understand that it's not on you, it's on Human Resources, it's on Public Works, it's on other departments. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that there's somebody out there that performed a flagger, and now she's had an on-the-job accident, and now she can't take her job back again. And apparently, we're going to let her go. So when I realized that what was happening today with her and what was happening today with you guys, that was just your last meeting until sometime in July, she probably won't have a job by the time you guys come back from your summer recess. And I know that you're not off. I know that you're still working. You just won't meet here. But I knew then if I didn't come today, I wouldn't have the opportunity to say this to you. I've taken 2 hours of my vacation to do this, and now I've called the office and said, make that 2.5, because here I sit. Have a great day. Have a great summer recess. I need to go back to work.
Cindy Swan, I think, was left. That brings Barry Halverson.
Amy, did the commissioners get the copy?
No, they'll be scanned.
Okay. Good afternoon, commissioners, chair. My name is Barry Halverson. I'm from Yelm, Washington. I'm the co-chair of the Lake Lawrence Lake Management District Steering Committee. Today, I wanted to give you an update on the status of our Lake Management District renewal. As you know, our current LMD expires 31 December 2026. We've started our process a little bit early, and I'm glad we did because there's been some hiccups with the Long Lake Management District process. To maintain the LMD, we are required to renew the LMD through the Lake and Beach Management District Revised Code of Washington requirements. The steps to make that happen are provided in the slides that I provided to you, and Amy picked them up because she's got to scan them in, and hopefully she'll get them back to you. I know she will. Okay. On March 2025, our steering committee decided to renew the Lake Management District for a period of 35 years. The length of the LMD renewal was based on the need to have an extended duration LMD in order to ensure the mission of the LMD to not only control noxious, invasive, and nuisance aquatic vegetation that we have been doing for the past 40 years, but to increase our mission to enhance water quality and significantly decrease toxic algae blooms, something that cannot be realized by short-term lake management districts. It's a long-term process, and you have to plan for the long term. Toxic algae control is a long-term and expensive addition to our lake management district mission. As you know, toxic algae blooms have devastated our local, state, and national lakes with ever-increasing frequency and toxicity, with Lake Lawrence experiencing its worst toxic algae bloom in its history this past year, closing the lake to all recreational activities for 16 weeks. The petition for renewal was drafted and submitted to the county for approval. On 5 March, our petition was approved. On 1 May, the petition was sent to our Lake Management District members for their consideration and approval with a 30 June suspense to include one to the county and to the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife as required by the regulation. As of today, we have received petitions from 34% of our parcel owners, a very high percentage, only 20% is required. We have not received a signed petition from the county for the 15-acre county park, over 1,500 linear feet of shoreline on Lake Lawrence, and request your county manager or designated official complete and return the petition if the county intends to support the Lake Management District moving forward. As you know, the Lake Lawrence is the only LMD in the county that has county property on the lake, which actually is a huge portion of the shoreline property on Lake Lawrence. The two slides I've shown you shows the progress of the Lake Management District renewal and the next steps. We look forward to collaborating with you and your staff to ensure successful renewal. I have been asked to write an article for the Nisqually Valley News on the Lake Management District renewal process and would like to include a comment about the county's support for the Lake Management District. I'll be submitting that article to the Nisqually Valley News the second week of July, after our petition process ends on the 30th of June. Appreciate all your support and help, and I'll give you an update on this as we proceed through the process over the next year so that you know what's going on and that you know the staff is working with us to make sure that it happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry.
Anyone else to give public comment? Okay, let's go back to our person online about the Log Cabin Road. I can't read your name, I'm really sorry, but I know you're the only person we have, so go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, hi there. Thanks so much for hearing my comment. My name is Chris Norelius, and I live in southeast Thurston County off of Yelm Highway. And I'm here to support the Thurston Regional Planning Council decision to approve the removal of the Log Cabin Road extension from the Regional Transportation Plan. And I also just want to share that I really appreciate that the Olympia City Council has removed the log cabin extension from their comprehensive plan. And just overall, I applaud our local leaders for keeping the much loved LBA Woods road free. This area is such a treasure, and putting a slice through it would really be a travesty. Thanks so much. I appreciate all the work you all do.
Thank you, Mr. Aurelius. I think that closes out public comment for the second period. And with that, we're adjourned.